Take a sip of my coffee. Okay, I think we're live. Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well today. I wanted to get together with a photographer friend here, and this I say he's a friend because I've already made friends with him, but I've only been speaking to him for probably 10 minutes now or so.
Yeah, totally.
But I love it because I didn't want to speak with him for too long before we started, because that would I wanted us to start fresh, but at the same time, there's this weird middle ground where you want to have like a little bit of connection and rapport before you like start doing a live thing. But anyway, here we are. I'm here with Daniel Marino. Is that right? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, great. So I'm here with him today, and one of the reasons why I chose you to have a conversation with is because I found you in the past in one of my videos, and I spoke about one of your photos there, one or two of your photos,
right,
2 or 3 maybe, I forget. Anyway, I was very impressed with your work, and now I want to have a conversation with you and kind of go over your work from a third person from me, but first person perspective from you, because you made the photos yourself. So we're going to be scrolling through your Instagram feed today, and we're going to be talking about some of your work. But first, I want to kind of break down what I think of your work in summary. What it strikes me as is very pleasant and well-composed city shots, specifically of Chicago. And you hit Chicago from every angle possible, which I think is cool. And I think this is kind of the approach of mastery, right? It's not that you hop from one topic to another in your photos. It's that you really focus in on one thing and try to hit it from every angle you can. And I love that. You utilize drones, you utilize video sometimes, and you're often using things like clouds and as an atmospheric and framing mechanism. And it really adds a lot. And then, but you're also very good at organizing the fundamentals to make for a well-organized photo. And so I want to look over your photos and talk about how these photos came to be and what your thinking is, what your thought process is behind it, and, gear and all that fun stuff. So anyway, here we are. We are on your Instagram feed. I found this exciting app called Grids, which I think displays Instagram in a pleasant way. And I'm still learning it. One of the things we learned before we started was that when I play the video back, it blows my eardrums out. So whenever we do start, I might play a couple of videos very quickly, and then you could talk about it, but I'm gonna have to click out of them so that I can continue to hear. I have a little girl on the way, and I want to be able to hear her sweet cries.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we don't want to lose your hearing today.
Yeah, that's right. But first off, I mean, how are you doing today? And thank you, by the way.
No, thank you to you. I feel like after those words, I don't know how to continue. I feel like a little bit, but thank you so very much. I really appreciate those words that you're about my photos. I really enjoy that you like them. I have fellow photographers there as well. As you say, we had you just talked a couple of times over Instagram and in person like 10 minutes ago. Mm-hmm. But I still have to check out your work, and I really admire it as well. I think that you approach street photography in a way that I wish I was more brave to do it, I feel. But yeah, so that's why I feel more comfortable maybe taking photos of buildings and from the cityscape. But I want to learn how to get more close to people as well.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. And you were telling me earlier, and you said, it says on your Instagram feed, you were from Venezuela. So how did you get from Venezuela to Chicago? And also, I'm going to turn on this fan really quick. I'll be right back. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I actually I graduated from college 4 years ago, and I was looking for a place to move, and it was by luck that I ended up in Chicago. Actually, my brother does comedy, so he came to study in Second City in Chicago to study comedy, improv comedy. And when I was finished college, I was looking for like a place to move out of the country, and because my brother was living here, it was like the easiest option to go, basically. So I came here and I fall in love with the city, and never left since then. I've been living here for 4 years now.
Okay. So, I mean, what do you love about Chicago?
Well, I think it's a city that has a little bit of everything. Like coming from Venezuela, I never experienced the seasons before, like the change of the seasons. In Chicago, it's a city that has like very extreme seasons. It's like when it's winter, it's a really harsh winter. In the summer, it's very sunny and hot summers, and every season is like a new city for me. I feel like every time they is changing, it feels like to go and steps to a new city. So it's very interesting to see the different perspective and how the city change with the passing of time. You know, it doesn't feel like you are in the same place all the time. You're actually feeling like everything is changing little bit by little bit.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so it's very dynamic, constantly shifting. So it reminds me of when I lived in Utah, that the weather would change dramatically from day to day, and especially as the seasons changed. You know, one day we'd have just a sunny desert day, and then the next day we'd have these crazy bizarre clouds and beautiful sunsets, weird colors in the sky, and then we'd have a blizzard, and then
exactly. Chicago is like that every day,
but wetter and more cold.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but I hear one time the bad weather makes good photos.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right.
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And for street photographers, it's kind of funny because we are much more willing to embrace noon or a cloudy day, like a day that's very overcast. We're not necessarily out here for the beautiful sunsets every single time. A lot of times we can get a lot of good work done with just a foggy day. And a lot of times it actually helps us out.
Right, I bet, because without so much harsh lighting, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay. So the first one I actually wanted to talk about was this one. And this is actually the thumbnail for the video anyway. So makes sense that we do that. And first off, I love this photo. I love how minimalistic it is. I love that the subject is so well defined, and then we have this beautiful atmosphere around it. Looks like he used a drone. What is the name of this tower, by the way, poking through the clouds?
So that's the Hancock Tower in Chicago. It's one of like most iconic buildings of
the Hancock Tower. Okay.
Yeah, gotcha. Actually, his name right now it doesn't have a name, so it's only called by the address. So everybody calls it the Hancock Tower. There is the former name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it doesn't have a name right now. Yeah, so it's like right there by the lake of Lake Michigan and the start of the Michigan Avenue.
Okay.
So it defines the skyline, like coming from the north side of the city. It's like the first thing that you see when you're getting downtown.
Okay. And so yeah, it seems like you utilize this tower a lot as well as the Willis Tower, right?
Yeah. Basically, like because they are like the tallest buildings are very iconic, and like when you compose, everything goes towards them, because like you see them like a triangle, like the tall warm building, when it goes, everything else goes down from there.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Or at least I feel it like that.
Yeah, I gotcha. Cool. Okay, so when you were going about taking this photo, what was the conditions that led up to this? Like, how did you realize that this photo was going to work?
So, well, like the photos is always like hunting, you know, because it can go really fast, and you can like be in a location and realize that there's fog, and then get to the place that you want to take the photos, and it's already gone. Besides, like these kind of photos, like you cannot see them from the ground, because if you go see this from the ground, you are just seeing up, and you're just seeing fog. It's just like a cloud. You don't know if it's showing up until you throw the drone to the air and you go expecting something to find something, and then you see this thing that is the tower in the clouds. It looks, in my opinion, it looks like amazing. It looks like very surreal to like have the buildings like above the fog. So in this one in particular, it was like I saw them from my house that it was coming fog, and I ran with my bike to try to catch it. And luckily, I arrived just in time to get this frame. It was like the first photo that I was able to take that day. It turned out really good. It was like right about sunset, so we have like that little orange in the background.
Yeah, I love that splash of orange. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I was like, oh my god, because when I say when I was flying the drone, we were going up. I didn't know what was going to happen. So when I found this, I'm like, I had to take this photo so really fast before it leaves.
Right. Yeah. Because I would imagine that the scene is changing pretty dramatically.
Yeah, exactly. So you never know when it's gonna go. Like it can pass 10 minutes and be totally clear.
Yeah. Right. And so was it sort of a situation where the fog would move into a position where it didn't quite work with the building, or was it pretty consistently poking through and it looked like this, or how dramatically was it changing?
So I will say like 5 to 10 minutes after this, like the right side of the building, it was already clear. Like there was fog like covering the building, but it was not like this whole layer that you don't see anything else. So it was like in the right side, it was already clear. So that's why in next shots, I had to frame it like looking at from up front of the building. So I was able to like catch fog, still like covering everything, because in the back, it was already like a clear. So it didn't last very long, this like this.
Yeah. Okay. So very, very fleeting conditions we have here.
Yeah. Like I was saying, I have been like a couple times that I go to the trip that I go trying to catch the fog. And when I arrive, I see there's nothing. I find out a fellow photographer. They tell me, "You're too late, man," or something.
Was this a shot that you had in mind for a while, and it just happened to work one day, or was this something that you weren't necessarily planning on? It just kind of came to you.
I think I will say that probably was like in my mind, or like something very similar. I was looking for like this very minimalistic, because I feel like that all that negative space is what make it work. If the fog was lower and it was showing more buildings, there was more distractions. I feel like the fact that it's only that building that is the tallest one, it makes it seems like a little bit more surreal. That it's like a building poking from the clouds.
Awesome. Well, this is gorgeous. This is stunning.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, this is absolutely fantastic. And then you were mentioning that there was a kind of a similar video version. I'm going to play this, and it's going to blow my face off for a second, but we're just going to play it for a second. I'm going to like hide my ears so you guys can see it, and then we'll talk about it. So
that's what I was saying. Like this, I had to move the drone like in front of the building, because back of the drone, it was already clearing up.
Okay, that's that. So, okay,
Did you survive? Your ears survived? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I'm still here. Everything's okay.
Okay.
At least out of my right ear. Okay, so it's interesting. How comfortable do you feel with video as well, especially flying a drone? Because that's a bit of a different, ball game.
Oh yeah, I feel like when you are doing video with like the drone, you have to be 10 times more careful. Like I think that with a still photo, it's like you frame the photo and you have it there, and you just press the button to take the photo. But like with video, you have to like try to maintain the composition while it's moving, and try to avoid like you see the camera in a way, like you want to feel like it's a very fluent movement, like that there's no camera there. Now you don't want like something shaking or like moving that you feel like the drone. So it's more like I have a good friend that told me, because I was very scared about flying the drone, like throwing it like to the top without even being able to see it like above the clouds and stuff. And he told me like, you have to trust in the drone, because what are you gonna do? Like if it's flying over there, like there's not much that you can do about it. Like you just have to know the possibility what the drone can do and go for it, because it was built for that, right?
Yeah. It's funny. I've found that some people are much more comfortable with drones than others. I'm incredibly comfortable with the drone to the point that I scare my wife and sometimes myself. So I'm always whipping it around. It's very intuitive to me, but I feel like a lot of people have a really hard time understanding the dynamic of how a drone works and how to not run it into things. And it's interesting, man. I don't know if there's like a different brain chemistry for one person versus another that creates the ability to fly a drone well or not. But
I think video games help me a lot. I feel
right,
like with the sticks and stuff. Yeah,
that
yeah,
might,
like,
and maybe that's a huge part of it, right? Because I played a lot of video games. I've
yeah,
always
I feel like you have it in your brain how it's gonna work.
Right. It feels like a video game, and I have to remind myself that I'm actually flying a physical object.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, you do a good job with it, from what I can tell. Smooth movements, and also it doesn't seem like you're going too crazy with the whipping around and that sort of thing. Because I found some of my favorite quote unquote drone movements that exist are like Discovery Channel documentaries, and they're not doing all of this crazy whipping around things and tracking objects and stuff. They're just flying over a mountaintop, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, and it looks very cinematic, right?
Right. And so there's a lot of times I think people overdo it when a good drone shot is just generally designed to be a very flowing, beautiful, establishing shot to get people into the moment. You can, of course, there are times and places for everything, but a lot of times, you don't necessarily have to go crazy with it. You can just do something simple and then go into the edit and make it really shine.
And that's what I meant when I think floaty is like the perfect word to describe it. It doesn't feel like the mechanical of the camera is that you can see it in the shot. It should be like something floating, like
exactly,
it's a shot that is happening there. Yeah,
that's it. Right. Yeah, that's it. Like we shouldn't be reminded that this is a camera. We should be immersed into the moment.
Yeah, I feel like that. So like try to avoid as much as possible. I think is like the to notice the machine there. We are just trying to see this and get into this.
You sound like you might be a filmmaker, Daniel.
Well, I mean, actually, my passion or like my main objective is to end up doing movies some days. But
cool.
I end up doing photography in the meantime, like until I get there.
That's cool. I think that, I started out with video, and that has always allowed me to a lot of things in life, make money, to be able to edit videos for YouTube, that sort of thing. And I've found that there's something that you get from video that you don't get from photos. There's something you get from photos that you don't get from video. And I've always loved that photos are very instantaneous. They're very quick and easy, but at the same time, you can't string together a narrative in the same way with a photo that you can with a video. Videos are really powerful, and they can pull people into like deep emotional experiences in a different way than photos can. So I think they both have their place.
Yeah, they both have their purpose. I feel like the same way. I feel like photography as well, it can be like a very like more personal in a way that sometimes in video you need like maybe more production or more stuff to come with like a better product than with photos what you need, like in terms of equipment, and like you can do photography by yourself, but like often in video, like you need some pair of extra hands in one place or
Yeah. Okay. So let's whip through some photos real quick here, and hopefully we can get through a bunch of them before we got to wrap this thing up. And we have this one, which is quite similar to your previous one with the Hancock / No Name Tower, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And but we have some other buildings poking through this time. But was this similar circumstances? Was the same day? Was this different day?
No, this was like I believe like probably like 2 weeks after the other one. the previous photo, and as you can see, the fog is a little bit lower. That you can see like the tops of several buildings.
Right.
There. Yeah. So
Oh,
it's like
yeah,
a
it was
different,
higher last time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The fog in the actually in the previous photo, I think that you can see like that you were mentioning that you can see a little bit of the shadow of the building that is next to it, because it was there, but it was a little bit higher the fog, so it covered.
Oh, right. Yeah. Like, so if we go back here,
so
where were we? It was back up here, right? I think it was lower actually. Here we go. Yeah, so we got this shadow of this guy popping through.
Exactly. It's that one. It's the same building, but it's in the other one because it's a little bit lower the fog. You can see like the top of those buildings. They are not as tall.
Okay.
Or like because it's such a rare condition like the fog. As soon as I find out there is fog, I try to catch it because it's like all these little changes are going to make the photos way different. It's like
sure.
In the surface you can
it's
say
changing
like,
by the second.
Yeah, and like the surface you say, oh, it's another fog photo, but like all these little changes make it like a whole different look. I feel, no, because it's showing your stuff. It was earlier in the day. It was not at sunset, so it's like the sky is a little bit bluer.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's exciting stuff. Oh, great shot there. I'm going to move into a couple of some other types of shots here. I want to find one of your subway shots because those have been some of my favorites of yours. I might have to go back a bit more. Let's see here. I noticed you dragged the shutter a little bit too. Like from a technical standpoint, you do a lot of fun things that I think really add to your. Oh no, it's gonna be. Let's see. Here's one. Hey, look at that. Gorgeous.
That's actually in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Okay. Well, we're going to Philadelphia for a minute. So tell me about this. I mean, we have these beautiful orange, purple, yellow sunset sky. We have a train heading towards the horizon with beautiful city buildings all around. But this perspective that you have directly over the center of the tracks is something that I'm kind of mad at you that you were able to get this perspective because it's so good. This is fantastic. How did you accomplish this?
Well, this is a sunrise. So it was like at 5 a.m., something like that. I was in Philadelphia during the winter. It was like in January. And I was there like staying with my family. And it was a sunrise that I almost missed because I was like, no, it's too early. It was super cold.
Oh, so we all do that.
Yeah. I was like, no. But I was like, I'm going to regret if I don't go. So I took...
Daniel, have you ever regretted a sunrise?
No,
right?
Even the bad ones, like when you get a good one, it makes for the other ones. It's like it makes up for the other ones. Exactly. So I was like, I had to go to this one. I'm gonna go, and there's actually like so in this station, there's like a bridge to cross between sides. So this is from the bridge, from the middle of the bridge that you are there.
That's what I was thinking. You'd hopped up on a bridge. That's great.
Yeah. So I was like. The station there was nobody, like very few people at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And it was like and I was like when I arrived, it was as well. It was running to get the colors because it was about to leave. Like when I was arriving to the station, I was like looking to the sky that it was looking that red, and I wanted to like running to get to the location on time because I scouted this location like the previous days. I tried for sunset. And I was like, I think I was seeing that probably was going to work better for sunrise because you had the sun right in front of it, right there to get those colors. Because in the sunset you have it in the back, so you don't get that much color like with the train and with the skyline of Philadelphia.
Yeah, so this would be a completely different scene if it was a sunset shot.
Yeah, exactly. So that location is like ideal for sunrise.
Well, so what was your gear setup for this? What were you shooting with? It looks like a longer focal length.
So that one was like with a 70 to 180, the Tamron 2.8. Yeah, beautiful. So it was a long one. And yeah, I think I probably was there like in the longest, like beyond 100, like 150 or something. And this is shot with a Sony A7 II.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. So how long have you been shooting with the A7 II?
So I got it like 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was shooting Canon before, for like a crop sensor, so I wanted to change to full frame, and I feel like Sony was the move, so I went into Sony for full frame, like to the
Gotcha.
mirrorless camera.
How obsessed are you with gear generally? Is it not very or middle?
Well, I mean, I try not to think much about it. Like, if you think about that camera, that's like a camera that has like 6, 7 years that it came
Mhm.
out. Because I feel like if you know your gear, you're gonna get better photos than if you have like expensive gear.
Heck yeah.
Like, so like I try to learn as much as I can of the camera that I have to try to push it as much as I can and get the better results from it. And yeah, that's why I haven't upgraded yet that camera, because it's still working very good for me.
Mhm. Okay, excellent. Yeah, well, it worked well here. I like how you kind of split the scene in half, where you have the closer things in the foreground. I love how all of this stuff. There's a lot of potential clutter around here, around the edges, but because you shot in the morning, all of that is quite dark, and um, I love how it moves into the background, and then you have these beautiful semi silhouetted, but also these buildings are kind of, they have this blue shade
Yeah,
to
like a
them, which
blue
is,
haze.
oh, it's just wonderful. And then you have, of course, the sky, and I think the sky is the cherry on top of this photo because it's absolutely fantastic.
And besides, I feel like the train is like the most important of the photo for me, because I feel like without the train it will feel empty. Like
Sure.
just seeing the tracks without nothing, but like with the train, it's like the subject that is taking us to the city in a way.
Okay, you're right. The photo has two cherries. We have the train and we have the sky. But I also love how you have this the crossing parts right here. That's a really interesting placement of that. I think it adds a little bit more to the photo. You got the red light from the on the train tracks right there, and you get this sense. I mean, the train track itself is a leading line, so you get the sense that it just
Yeah,
goes into the distance. The train is heading into the city, and it feels wonderful. But once again, I do love that. You know, if this is like a midday shot, this is the power of light, right? If this is like a
yeah,
midday shot, all of this stuff would be much more prominent. There'd be a lot of extra stuff going on. It's not that it wouldn't work; it just would be a different shot. And these lights on the train, head or tail lights, I don't know which direction it was coming, would be way less prominent. And that's another big thing that draws the eye to the train and makes the whole photo come together.
yeah. I feel like, as you say, like be able to guide the eyes of the person that is watching the photo is very important. Like to
Right.
try to dismiss all the information that maybe is not that relevant for the frame. Like as you say, I think if for how dark are the sides, all the attention goes to these lines, and then they shoot to the city and then to the sky. So
Mhm.
it's like a big arrow that is taking you from the bottom to the top of the frame.
Yeah, yeah. This is a very visually flowing shot.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Of course, of course. Okay, let's move along to another one here. Let's scroll back up a little bit. What's a good one we could choose here? Okay, this is one thing I've noticed that you do that is really fun. You'll get out next to, I'm presuming this is the lake here, right?
Yeah. That's Lake Michigan during the winter when it gets uh, frozen and cold.
Oh, it looks frigid.
Yeah. It was right there. Like those like orange tubes are like stairs that people have to they can get off of the lake like during the
Okay.
summer when
Okay.
they're swimming, so they're like can climb
It's like
it
a
to get
ladder.
out. Yeah, like a ladder. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And so what you've done is you've taken the Hancock Tower once again, which I understand why you use this tower, because it's very aesthetically symmetrical, pleasing kind of thing, and
Yeah,
it
and very
pokes
prominent.
out.
Like, yeah, actually, I feel like when you frame it in another way, because it's so big, it has so much weight in the frame. Like, it's very
Mm,
heavy in the frame, so it always call your
mm.
attention to
Oh, I love that. It's heavy in the frame. That's a good way to put it.
it.
That's great. So yeah, it's like this would already have a lot of weight in the frame, but you've emphasized it more and focused the image more by putting this red ladder topping pole thing over it. And the ladder itself is very pleasing shape. And then you have the fact that it's red, which separates it from the rest of the scene, which is very blue. So we have this color contrast happening here as well. And also the bearded Geordie. Anyway, hi, welcome. He says, awesome images. Glad I dropped by, James. I'm glad you dropped by as well. If you have any questions as we go, let us know. So yeah, fantastic shot. There's a second one here. Let's see. Oh, this is a variation, I see.
So there you can see like the two ladders, like the two sides of the ladders where people can grab themselves to get out.
I love that you included this because it shows a little bit of playfulness on your part to kind of play around with the scene and see what will work. And so like this last one, I think is the, arguably the more minimalistic organized scene, but this one works as well. And I think it would also be just fine as a shot. And then you have the ice more prominent here. That's intense. That's a lot of ice.
Yeah. It was pretty cold that day.
I would imagine.
I really like to frame inside frames, because I think that it helps you a lot to bring attention and to focus like the person's eye and what you are trying to show. Because these frames, even though I have all this outside of it, I feel like your eyes and your focus is going to go straight to inside the frame.
Yeah.
So it's trying to show you like what is most important, or like what I think is most important in the photo that I'm trying to show, So I always trying to look for like structures of figures that I can find around the street where I can put my subject there. So it's like there's no doubt this is my main focus or where I'm trying to show.
Yeah, and you were willing to get down low as well. You were willing to change your elevation.
Yeah. I feel like in several classes of photography or stuff that I always read, it says like, if you take photos at your eye level, you're seeing what everybody sees, or like what we see all the time. Like we have to try to show different perspective. Like going low is always like such a different perspective, because we are never in that in that perspective normally. Like
right.
Maybe we can be a little bit higher. Like we it's easily like if you get in top of something or like in a second floor, like on a rooftop, you're getting like a little bit higher. But like to get like down to the floor is very uncommon that you get to see from there. So it's like I always feel like it looks very interesting when you take photos like from the very low. It's like only kids and animals are seeing like that.
Yeah, it's a good way to add a lot of drama to your shot.
Yeah, and I feel like and it's just like. It's about trying different perspectives, like you were saying, and trying different frames to see what is working, what is not. That's why there's those two frames, because I often find myself like I cannot choose one. So I'm gonna post but the two that I like.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but once again, it's like I love that you included a couple of different versions of this here. I think that really added to it. So what was your focal length here with this?
I believe that's probably like a 50 prime.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, like 1.8.
Now, so I'm assuming this was probably I see that smoke kind of smearing there. This was on a tripod, right?
Yeah, this is on a tripod. It was like it's actually a non-exposure. It was like a couple seconds.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. I was thinking it kind of felt that way. That's great. Anytime,
like you can see there's like a couple that I'm trying to frame stuff inside, like objects.
Oh, right here. Here's one.
Yeah, like that.
It's like a reverse of what we just saw, where the red is inside the.
It's true. I didn't thought about it, but yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, right. And so this is so clever. And I think when you do this, so especially when you work with people, and so two things: when you work with people in your photos. And I love that you don't rely so heavily on people as a lot of street photographers will. I love that. but also you will put them in there whenever you get a good chance to. But whenever you're working with people and whenever you are in a city where it's very busy in terms of visual elements and clutter, these little tricks are really good to play around with and learn to keep your eye out for stuff like this, the chain link and stuff like this that you can put your subject inside of, because that's going to help you make your photos more put the weight, kind of like what you were saying a second ago, put the weight in the photo where it needs to go when you have a very busy scene. And the more busy the scene, the more important or the more useful it can be to use those techniques.
To focus in like exactly what you want to show.
Mm-hmm. Now this one is fantastic. This is a great example of your very creative and thoughtful framing. So we have a train coming into the shot. It's kind of coming through diagonally, and we have an interchange where, trains can come through from all directions. And the interchange itself is quite interesting. It's covered with snow. It's nighttime. You have the lights coming out of the train, but the train is just almost touching the bottom right-hand corner of the frame. And then you can see all the way to the back of the train on the top-ish left-hand corner. I love how close the train is to the edge, because I think that adds a lot of tension and drama to the photo. And also, if we look right here down at the bottom, this is lovely. We have a little bit of motion here, and it was just enough motion to give you the sense that this train is kind of zipping through here. And I think that little detail adds so much to the photo. But how'd this one come to be?
So this one actually was like, I went out to take photos with one of my friends, another photographer, because it was like a super storm in Chicago that night. It was like a lot of snow. So it was like, let's go to take some photos. Okay. And this is taken from a parking lot that is a little bit above from this intersection. So we were like, luckily we were like covered in that moment, so we were not getting like blasted by the snow. But we were like, let's wait to see some trains coming, and we waited there for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and like,
I love that.
We took a bunch of photos, like trains coming from everywhere, and like to get like all the angles as possible, like trying to play with it. But I feel like, because our position, this diagonal that it takes you from the top corner to the bottom corner, it was like it was working better for me. And like, actually the motion blur, it was not something exactly that I was looking for, but because it was like very, it was kind of dark, the scene, my shutter was low, and I think it ended up working really well, that you can see just a little bit of movement in the train.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. So I assume this one was handheld. I'm not sure if you mentioned that just then, but
basically handheld. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. So do you know what your ISO was roughly here?
Very high. I'm guessing like between 800, 1600, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. And
this was taken with like a 17 millimeters. Mm-hmm. To be able to fit all this, because it's actually very close to the parking lot where the trains are passing.
Okay, gotcha. And another thing I noticed that really adds to this shot is the light, because I always like to think about what is it that would make this photo work or not work in a given situation. And if the lights were not on in the train, I think this photo would lose a lot of strength. And so I think the lights in the train really pull your eye in and make the photo make sense, because there's quite a bit of light spilling out around the outside. But in this case, because you have these beautiful blue lights coming out and reflecting on the snow, and then you have that contrasting with the orange lighting, it really makes the photo make sense.
I feel now that you mention it, I think that if the lights were off, it will look like a dead train. It will not look as a light that is moving and is working in that moment. And that's why one of the reasons that I love winter, and it's because like at night you see up. And the lights make so much contrast, like, because all the streets, they have these city lights that are yellow with the snow that is white, and everything in general it looks like bluish because of the winter. That it creates this heavy contrast between blue and orange.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it really worked out well. Okay, let's see what else we can find here. I'm going to scroll back a little bit because I remember when I first started looking over your photos in order to make a video about you, I was a little further back. Oh, let's talk about this one. I really love this one. Alexandra Steen, welcome. She said amazing photo. I think she was referring to the last one with the train.
I know her. Yeah. Hi, Alexandra.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Friends. All right. So yeah, this is a very, I mean this from a stylistic standpoint, this is a very James Redd type of photo. This is like the types of photos that when I'm walking around, I'm going to try to find photos like this, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But this photo sings to me. I love how you have the background as the prominent subject in the photo. It's like, okay, this is the city. We're in the city, but we're kind of on the edge of the city, and we have somebody flying through, but they're sort of it makes the photo not be entirely just about the cyclist, but about where the cyclist is. Puts more emphasis on the environment that the cyclist is in. And I love how it worked out here. And the placement of the cyclist is so wonderful. And you know how out of focus the cyclist is really fantastic. Everything about this photo I love. I love the trees coming in the top. Did you hit a burst on this one to get the cyclist?
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for like mentioning all that. I was like my idea or my original intention, it was like, because what I was saying that I tried to do frames inside the frames, like I was trying to get the city framed by all this nature, like to get, because you can see like greens in the ground, and like in the top, like framed by the trees, by the tree leaf. And then I'm just taking photos of this, and then I see the cyclist approaching, and I'm like, oh, I had to react really fast, but I was like, I knew in that moment that I was not be able to get the cyclist in focus. So I was like, I'm gonna keep it.
So was this an accident?
Yeah, I mean, it was.
I love it.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna keep the city in focus and trying to get the cyclist like inside my frame, and I hit the boards, and then I get this frame that I felt like is well balanced, and it's like the cyclist is not cutting any building like with his head, and it's not that. I mean, it's out of focus, but it's not that out of focus that you cannot know what it is. It's like you can still see like the figure very well shaped, like of the cyclist. That I think it turned out really great, and as well, it balanced out very well with the Hancock that is like the other heavy stuff in the photo.
Right. Yeah, the photo doesn't feel off balance.
Yeah, even though because like each one is pulling to each side, that's why they're like a little bit. Nothing is in the center. It's actually
right.
The cyclist is in one side, in the other with the Hancock. I think it makes it a balance.
Right. It's like I kind of like to think about it as if you sit the photo on like a point. The top sits on a point, and it's like, okay, where's the weight in the photo? If it's in the center, it's going to balance, right? But if it's on the left, let's say that the cyclist wasn't here, it would lean over to the left and fall over.
Yeah.
If the cyclist was there and there was no Hancock building, it would lean to the right. In this case, it's balanced again. Yeah,
I try to see it as well that way, because I feel like when you lack an element sometimes in the photo, it feels like very weighted to the other side, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like sometimes you can use that like for dramatic purpose, like to call all the attention there, but sometimes it feels like empty or they is missing something. So I try to always try to see like the photos if they feel their weight, it feels balanced in all the frame.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things I want to take notice of is where the cyclist is in relation to everything around them. So the head, for example, is clear from these buildings. There's plenty of room in between the head and the buildings. It's not clashing with anything. The rest of the cyclist is not, obviously it's covering up these buildings, but it's not it's not clashing in a distracting way. And then you have this nice distance between the branch here and the back of the cyclist, and then all the way over here as well. All of these things make this photo feel stronger.
because I feel like the figure of the cyclist is well defined, because what you're saying, there's nothing like, there's nothing touching him, like his silhouette in a way, like in a distracting way, like in his head or in his back. You can see the silhouette very very well defined. You don't see him sharp, but you see him there.
Yeah, this is a tricky photo. This could have easily gone wrong, but it went totally right. And but I guess technically it's like you were planning on it to maybe be something a little bit different. But as we have here from Click and Capture Media, accidents are often the best pictures.
For sure they are, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So let's back out. And
in photography, it's like it can happen so quickly that sometimes it's a little bit of luck, but it's about being in the right moment, in the right place to take that photo.
And I think it's a lot of times it's about being ready to capture whatever is presented to you, and you're going to get a lot of things that don't work, and then you're going to get a couple of things that do work. Because
like I think all this stuff is happening all the time around us. Like all these frames, like these incredible frames, like art is going on all around us in the city, in the towns, everywhere where we walk. Like we're just trying to capture it in a way or we train ourselves to try to capture it in a still image. But like all this stuff is happening all the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, it's always happening, and the question is like, are you going to be able to have your camera and everything in the right settings, and are you going to be able to have a focal length that's conducive to your situation and all of that stuff? And so I think that's why it's so important to have a really good handle on whatever camera you have. And speaking to your point earlier, you don't necessarily need to have the fanciest gear to be able to accomplish that. And in fact, a lot of times that might hinder you. If you're shooting with something that feels like an extension of your arm, you're going to be more likely to be able to capture those things easier and not run into a weird technical situation. Yeah,
for sure. Like the most important, your camera is your instrument, and you should know it as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like, to be able to react really quickly, to change some settings, like to know even like what are the lackings of your camera, or like the stuff that is not that good, because then you are not trying to push it where that it's not going to deliver. You are trying to see to play with the strengths of your camera.
Yeah, and the best position to be in is when you can go, my camera is not going to be able to swing that, or my camera lens combination is not going to be able to swing that this time. But if I had this, and this, it would be able to swing it. And that's a good way to learn.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. I was trying to find, there was a shot where you had a nice long exposure. Here it is. Okay. So this is really interesting to me because from a technical standpoint, because I don't spend a lot of time doing long exposure photography. And so I'm always interested in learning about how one could better make these motion blurs happen and make them make sense in the frame. So in this case, what exactly led to this shot in terms of settings? Like, what was your shutter speed at? How did you set everything up here?
Yeah, well, obviously this is because it's a long exposure. It was like in a tripod. This is as well.
If you did this handheld, I would be super impressed.
Right. But yeah, this is from a tripod. This is like from a parking lot as well in Chicago. So it's very interesting because you can see like this.
I'm really fascinated by your angles. You constantly capture really interesting angles that I'm always trying to capture. So
I'm trying to explore every corner of the city.
Very good. Parking garages, probably good thing to explore, right?
Yeah, for sure. It gives you like, because like in downtown Chicago, all these trends are above the ground. So like make this like interesting scenes with the buildings and like the curves of the trains.
Very unique feature of Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. It's like very distinctive from other cities that you can see like the train right there in above the ground in all the downtown. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this one actually was like with an ND filter, because as you can see, this was like around sunset, like right before sunset. So like to
A
be
nice
able to get
reflection
along,
of the sun right there. That's so cool.
yeah, to be able to get like that long exposure, like it's so bright, you need an ND filter to be to try to get less light in your camera, because that if not it will be blown out.
Sure.
Yeah,
And this
and
is like what, F11 as well, right? Something like
yeah,
that.
probably F11
Yeah.
or even F14, because everything is in focus right there.
Mhm.
And I think probably it's like a couple seconds, no more than 3 seconds or something. Yeah.
Okay. So this is a 3-second shutter drag,
Yeah,
probably.
probably somewhere around there, 3-4 seconds.
Okay. So that's good to know. So, and I feel like you're probably going into these situations, and with each situation, it's a little bit different with how long you're going to drag the shutter. Like one situation might call for a 1-second shutter drag. One situation might call for a 5-second shutter drag.
Yeah. And in this one in particular, well, I wanted to like the train go all the way. The showing is like it looks like a very very long train. Obviously, it's not that long,
Right.
but it's coming from it's getting out of the frame, and it's showing it like like it was like a long snake around the track.
Right. And it adds, dragging the shutter like this for a train, for a car, for anything else that you can drag the shutter with and make it make sense is a great way to add some drama and some excitement to a photo, and it definitely worked here.
Yeah, and I feel like it makes it seems like with more purpose, like you actually went, and it seems like a more planned shot, like when you're trying to do like
right.
a long exposure.
Yeah, you can't accidentally take that shot.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm guessing you got about 8 minutes left with me today.
Let me see. Yeah, around that.
Okay,
10
so
minutes.
let's see if we can hit one or two more, and then we'll get you out of here. Let's see here. What's a different one we could look at? We got some some pretty straightforward street photography. There's some stuff where you placed people into the mix from, let's see, there was one I saw where you had this guy from quite far away kind of cut out because the sunlight was, that's interesting, because the sunlight was coming through. Let's see here. Wasn't that one? It was kind of like that one. There it is right here. Okay, so tell me about this one, because there's a lot of moving elements here, and this is something where you would easily have to sit here for quite a while to get that perfect placement of everything, where there's not a car coming out of this guy's leg, and he's got some nice separation from everything. His head has separation here. Looks good. You're shooting directly into the sun. Once again, all of this is such a great way to get rid of a ton of clutter, is shooting in a situation where the light is coming at you, or the light is not hitting everything evenly, like you would get at like noontime, for example. So anyway, what were the circumstances that led up to this?
Well, this is actually this is a photo of the Chicago Henge. I don't know if you have heard about it.
Okay.
It's like, so twice a year, the sun aligns perfectly with the grid of the buildings of Chicago. So twice a year, like the sun pass, and is like right aligned, so that you can see all the shadows are like perfectly straight. Not like the shadow of the guy is.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's straight because like the sun is perfectly aligned with the streets, and it gives like this very interesting like light and shadows of this game. It comes actually from like Stonehenge, like these old monuments. They are from stone, where the sun hits as well this way.
Like you're talking about Stonehenge, like in Europe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got it. Yep.
So cool. they call it the Chicago Henge, because like for these massive buildings, it happened the same phenomenon. It's not it was Chicago not intended it was not intended that way, but like because the grid is perfectly aligned with the south, north, east, and west, this happens twice a year.
So are you keeping up with this? Like, are you paying attention to conditions?
Yeah, definitely. This is actually it feels like a photography event in Chicago. Like for the week that is leading up to this, and when it happens, it's like everybody getting ready. And actually, like probably this photo is like I have like easily 10, 20 photographers next to me trying to take photos of this phenomenon, because it's very weird. Like, no, it doesn't happen very often, and it gives this such a dramatic light. It happens, and it lasts only like, I would say, like 4 minutes when the sun passes between the buildings, and then it's gone. So I like this one was a photo that I was like intending, like I wanted to get like somebody in the frame to give me like that perspective and scale.
Yeah.
Like inside the frame, and as you were saying, like I have a bunch of photos of this guy because I was like in a burst trying to get him. But just this frame was the exact frame where you can see his silhouette well defined and not caught by any car or anything. In the other ones were like too early, and it was all in black with the car. And after that, it was all like I was losing the guy inside.
Yeah, you had very little time to make the shot work.
Yeah. So it was like right in at some moment, and I feel like often like when you take photos in the streets or like the people walking, you want that like that beat shape in their legs, so it looks like they actually like they're in motion. So it was like it was like in the exact moment when he was doing that, he was there in the frame, and I love that one for that.
Yeah, that's excellent. And he's directly below the sun. I mean, this one just really came together well. And these are photos that a lot of times, I think I mentioned at the beginning, was that they take a lot of patience and trial and error. And
definitely.
Yeah, you can't give up. You can't expect these photos to come easy. Cause
you need to for all the photos that you see here that you might find they are good. There's a bunch in my hard drive that they don't work, but at the same time, if I didn't have those, I cannot reach these ones. You know what I mean? All those are part of the learning to get to the good ones in a way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And also, I was curious, when you took this photo, were you standing in the middle of the road, or where were you at?
So there's like a little island in the middle of the road to separate like
like a median.
Both of the lanes. Yeah, exactly. So cool. I was standing there right there.
I feel like you're so clever with finding little spots to put yourself that will give you these unique angles. I think that's fantastic. I think there's just as much creativity in where you put your feet as where you frame, how you frame your shot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm trying to always like trying to look for perspective, or like I was saying, like get to certain places, or like trying to frame like my subject inside frames, like looking for like certain elements that make it maybe like pop a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this has been good, and I'm gonna get you out of here. I want to thank everybody for watching. If you showed up at the end, or what have you, then you are welcome to hop back to the beginning and watch us cover all these photos. But I have Daniel's link to Instagram below. Please feel free to check him out and send him some love. And thank you, Daniel, for being a part of this.
Thanks to you, James, for inviting me. I feel honored.
Okay, awesome. Good. I'm honored that you gave me some of your time. And I'm almost a little bit sad that we didn't go through more photos, because there's so much more that we could look at. Like, oh my gosh, like look at this. We can't talk about it.
That way we can go to a next one.
Yeah, maybe we do another one. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, you guys have a pleasant evening. Thanks so much for watching, and hit the like and subscribe if you like what I'm up to here. Goodbye.